All right, and we are live. Welcome everyone to the Rogue Hangout. My name is Alesha Drew, and happy Labor Day to everybody here in the US. We're excited today because it's the first of the month, the start of a brand new month, 1st of September. And myself and John Paul today are going to be sharing with you how to actually get clear with your goals and your outcomes and your intentions within your business, and why it's important and crucial to build yourself a vision as well. So with that being said, feel free to leave us any comments or questions that you have below this video, as we'd love to hear from you. And we're going to shake things up a little bit today, and I'm going to hand it across to John Paul to get us started here. So thanks for jumping on today, especially all those in the US.
All right, and we are live.
Welcome
everyone to the Rogue Hangout. My name is...
Sorry about that. Yeah, and we appreciate everybody here in the US that's jumped on today, as it is Labor Day, and we appreciate your time. And if you're watching this replay, that's cool as well. And we're going to get started. So take it away, John Paul.
That was my news anchor cue, right? No. Yeah, guys, thanks for taking the time out on Labor Day. This is a holiday that most people in America have no clue what it's for, other than they don't have to work, the post offices are closed, and they can't go to the bank to get their money out. That's pretty much all I've known about the whole thing since I was a kid. And I'm not Googling it for the significance of what it is. All I know is I'm not working today. Hopefully you're not working as well either. Being rogues of the pack like we are, as you can tell, I'm a little bit delayed here today. I need a little bit of caffeine to get me stimulated. It's not that I need stimulation, because the day is a beautiful day actually here. It's surprisingly quiet here. Normally I'm hearing cars and motorcycles burning out and all kinds of craziness. Now, Alesha and I, if you guys don't know, we actually live really close to an actual Air Force base, and sometimes we'll hear a lot of planes coming in and out, and we'll get a pretty influx of traffic coming in. Well, that didn't really have anything to do with anything other than just saying I like to sleep in today, and it was quiet when I came out today. And that's what you can do whenever, a lot of people talk about living a laptop lifestyle. Alesha will live the 27-inch iMac lifestyle. She's not really much of the laptop person. That's more me. That's my speed. But today we wanted to switch it up and talk about a couple things. Well, one main thing, and it's pretty much going to be building a solid foundation in your business. And we just got struck with an earthquake a couple of days ago up in Napa, California, and where we live, we're about I would say we're about 6 miles away from where the epicenter was, and that was down in American Canyon. We're about 6 miles away from that. And when that happened, it was about 3:20 in the morning, and Alesha just clutched onto me. Like, she just scooted over in the bed, just clutched onto me, and just it was a very frightening experience. And at first I thought it was just an airplane flying over, and then when it kept shaking even further, it was something that I realized, oh, that's actually an earthquake. Being California, this would be earthquake territory. So what made me realize that while everybody else was kind of freaking out around everything, we went outside and we checked out where we live, and what we realized was that we have a really good foundation as far as what our house is built upon. And that's something where, the TVs might have shook, some of the dishes might have clanged around a little bit, but, when it made me think and step back and just realize that, with anything, there was all this destruction and chaos that happened from outside influences in people's lives, which was from the earthquake, and people say, well, that's something you have no control over, and I said, well, actually, you do have control over it for how good you actually build your foundation and what you actually structure your stuff upon. And if you have really good bones, you can add anything onto it. People say, oh, this house has got, a good foundation, it's got really good bones. Well, what that means to me is that no matter what happens, you can add anything onto it and build upon it. And as long as you start with a really solid foundation and everything around it that you put onto that, some of it can be detrimental to the overall, I guess, addition of the house. For instance, I'm going to see if I can actually do a screen share here in a moment. We took some pictures And let me see if I can, perfect. So let me open these guys up. All right, so I'm just gonna bear with me here for one moment. So I'm gonna do a little screen share. And Alesha, too, you might want to just make sure that the Google Hangout is actually focused on me for this one. Sometimes I know that that thing doesn't automatically switch. All right, we're good. So I'm going to swap over and do a little screen share real fast. So real fast, guys, what you can see is these are a couple of pictures that were taken. This is a house that was down in Napa that we just drove by, and it was amazing to me because what originally looks like, you can see the porch is all shifted, and they got some workers working on it and everything. And here's another one as well. What happened here is this is like some of the side additions have been actually torn away from the main building. You can see it down on the bottom left, right in the top of the center of the screen as well. Here's just a longer shot of it. Now this is the back of the house. This is where it was pretty interesting to me, because what I get from this and what I kind of gathered was, you'll see all this other stuff that's kind of broken apart and fallen apart. This is all stuff that has been added on upon the years. And I'm going to go all the way back up to this main one. What you'll notice here is the main structure of the house, not including the porch. That porch was probably added on later on. That's not tied into really the foundation. There's no real structural foundation under the porch itself. Sometimes you'll have a corner post that might have some cement bearing underneath it. But when you look at all this other stuff on the back of the house, all this stuff was stuff that was added onto the foundation, but what you have behind it is a really solid core. Now that house could have actually been really, really rattled to the bones, totally just demolished, like some other pictures that you might have seen in, on the news and everything. Well, if you have a solid foundation, this stuff here is kind of like, for instance, in your business, this would be all the add-ons and all the other programs and everything, and the newest traffic source and all the other stuff that could be added onto your business that actually could turn around and actually, fall away from it later on. And what originally might seem like a bunch of chaos and destruction going on, when you look behind everything in here, when you really look behind it all, you'll see that the house is nice and square. All the main stuff is actually still straight and true. There's, nothing's really wrong with the actual physical structure. That's to me means is, well, I walked away from it and I realized that I'm going to swap my screen back here in a second. What I got from that was that it doesn't matter what you have going on. Don't let those outside influences come back in and really get you off your beaten path, and how to reconnect back to your vision. I know that Alesha has been working really, really diligently lately with getting down to her core desires with what she wants out of business, and we've been working on some of the things together. Since we are a couple, a lot of people think that we both have the same vision for what we're actually striving towards. And it's actually going to be surprising because it's actually different. What my core desires are actually different than what Alesha's core desires are. And our vision, we have a common vision for ourselves together in business, but we each have our own individuality behind it. And that's something where, if you're a couple out there, you have your spouse or your partner, your girlfriend, your loved one, whoever, your brother, whoever you're doing business with, or you're on this journey together with as an entrepreneur, building your dream, living your lifestyle, whoever you're doing it with, make sure that although you guys both might have separate, differing visions for yourselves, try to sit back and find the commonalities within those two. You'll have your sheets and whatever it is, you have your notes and you guys can talk openly about it, but try to find the common ground that's within that. And that common ground is what, when you guys meet together and you guys have your talks and discussions, that's where you guys can kind of reconnect and actually pull yourselves back together, because sometimes you can have a lot of what, I don't want to really say hostility, but sometimes there can be a lot of tension in between there. When one person thinks that they're on this path here, the other person thinks they're on this path over here, you guys are both going away this way, well, how do you bring everybody back together towards the center? That's what the vision that you guys can have together is, the commonality that you need. And a lot of that too is going back and saying, what is our business based upon? What kind of values do we have behind it? How do we not let all the outside influences and factors come back together to destroy us? And that was something that it's amazing to me that how an earthquake I could actually turn back around and find the good in it all. One of the best things about it was we got to go up to Napa and kind of just roam around the streets and walk around a little bit and eat some yogurt. That was the highlight of it. Even though there's all the destruction, there was more people on foot walking through the city just to see all the damage and the destruction. But there was a lot of people talking about reconnecting with everybody. Hey, I heard one person, I was walking by them, there was a news crew here on the side, but there was a lady over here that says, I just lost my house and it's so good to see you. They were talking to this other guy. He's like, oh, I haven't seen you guys in so many years. And it was something that all the reconnection that was going on was amazing, because that doesn't really happen. Sometimes you have to make a concentrated effort to go out and reach out in your life to who's important to you, and reach out and say, hey man, thanks for that. Whatever, praise the small things in life, and whether it's an old friend that you haven't talked to for a while, or someone that is a part of your life that you still want to be a part of your life, reach out to those people, because it's those small things that still add up to the big picture in life. Because a lot of it is you can get to the top of what you think is the top in business. And someone close to me once said that once you're at the top, there's nowhere to go but down. And I just started laughing hysterically. It was something that every time I hear that, it just makes me crack up, because whenever you say you're at a top, you just put yourself you just limited yourself. That was a limiting belief, because I believe that there is no top. There's always something bigger. There's always something better. There's always something more that you can do. There's always something more that you can provide. There's always something different that your company a service that your company can have for a different customer. There's always something different that you guys that a business can provide as far as a value and service to people. Now, one of my favorite values in life is caffeine. So don't mind me while I clear my throat a little bit. When we were in Napa, we saw there was a church that had some windows kind of blasted out of it. There was a lot of old buildings that were pretty much just ruined. The outside facades were off. There was a post office, and the amazing part about the post office was it was very similar. The post office had a lot of bricks on one corner that were just facade bricks. But the old school bricks, what it was built upon originally, all those bricks were all nice and tucked, real nice and tight, and they were all stacked. The mortar was really good. Then you see the more modern stuff that people threw on it to make it beautify it. Well, what happened there was all the crappy mortar and everything, the bricks just shook and rattled right off the side of the building, and all the original old school stuff that was there, that was made really good, that stuff was still intact. And that was pretty interesting to me, because you walk around the building, you're looking, and you're seeing all this chaos going on, and there's those bricks that were put there with care and precision that were still there. And of course, me being on the internet and everything, what do? I start going on and looking at good craftsmanship and things like that, and then I start looking at pyramids and all kinds of ancient technology and blah blah blah, and next thing you know is I'm 2 days later I'm still lost in the interwebs on ancient technology and building stuff. That's what my free time goes to, people. That's what happens. But you guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I think that building a solid foundation is the key, tying it into your vision and not losing track of that. Whenever you have all the outside influences, you'll have this Facebook course over here, this guru over here is launching this product over here, this is the latest, greatest traffic technique. Well, at the end of the day, all that stuff is fine, but if your vision is crap and your foundation is crap and it's unstable, if you have basically a three-legged chair, or that you're trying to build everything upon, it might balance a little bit off canter for a little bit, but then it's just going to topple over. And the more you start trying to build it back up, the more it's just going to fall back over again. And it doesn't matter if you have to stop and refocus 100%. If all the outside factors that you have going on, if you're just totally running on random and you have no real focus on where you're going, and you don't even know where you're at to know where you're going, it's okay to turn around and stop and get crystal clear on what you're doing. And you know, at least with us, we have our 15K formula. That's something that really helped us, was to getting clear. There was the first lesson in the 15K formula was, you know, getting a clear outcome on everything. And also the inner circle audios now, there's actually an inner circle worksheet that's available too, that we have too. So, you know, you don't have to go and spend $1,500 or $1,000 to actually get into the 15K formula. You can actually come in and spend $100 to get into the inner circle and actually start, you know, programming your mind a little bit better and thinking differently, to help you get you know, reset. You know, everybody goes to church once a week to reset their faith and actually recenter them and get them structured back on point. That's pretty much kind of what our Inner Circles audios do for us. Is, you know, we listen to audios every day from leaders around the different industries, not only our industry but other industries as well, on exactly how they're thinking, what they're doing, things that it's pretty much like being a fly on the wall within the millionaires of the world. And that's something that helps us restructure ourselves. So you don't have to spend $1,000. You can come in and spend $100 at the Inner Circle level, join us, and get going. That's that information there. If you're not willing to change the way you think, the things that you look at will never change. So you're always going to get the same outcome. And I think that Alesha might have something to put on that, because she's full of tons of information on things like that. So, Alesha, you got any thoughts on that at all?
Yeah, awesome stuff. Just looking back at those earthquake pictures, it still seems just so surreal. That was actually my first earthquake experience, and I do hope it's the last. You know, it only lasted about 10-15 seconds, but yeah, I was literally petrified, realizing that now that we live in California, this is what can happen, and can happen quite often. So, you know, it does put a different perspective on things, and when you go and actually check out the damage just down the road, you know, it's mind-blowing, and what can actually happen. Especially to not only the houses, also the historical buildings down in downtown Napa as well. So yeah, that's an experience I'll never forget, and hope to not experience it again. And what we take from that is what John Paul was just talking about, in regards to laying a good foundation, and that's something that I'm diving into a lot right now within our business. It's funny because people will say that they have goals, and they'll make, you know, like New Year's Eve, for instance. It's the time where everybody is expected to make a New Year's resolution, and it's great, but majority of the time people don't follow through with what they said they're going to do in the new year. They'll say it, but they won't actually do it. And why is that? And the reason for that is most of the time it's because that person is not actually clear on how they're going to get to that goal, to that resolution. They think about it and they say it, but then they don't give it any more thought as to what the steps are that they need to take to actually get to that outcome, get to that goal. And, you know, it's what we call the law of attraction. And often with the law of attraction, people mistake that for thinking that if they just think about it and they just talk about it, it's going to happen for them. You know, if I think about my dream car, the Lamborghini, which I will own one day, you know, if I only just think about it, it's not going to appear in my driveway one day. It's just not going to happen. If I don't have a plan on how I'm actually going to purchase that car, it's never actually going to happen for me if I'm just thinking about it. You know, so with that being said, that's why it's really important to actually get clear on what it is that you actually want and how you're actually going to get it. So how we do this, as an example, I want you to think about what your income goal is. If you're already in business or you're wanting to start, your own business, think about what it is that your income goal is. Now, we normally do this in chunks of 90-day periods. That's the way that it's normally done. Apparently, there's a scientific explanation for that. I'm not sure what it is, but doing things in chunks of 90 days is actually supposed to be very effective. So I want you to think about what your goal is over the next 90 days. And you could be watching this, and you could already have that goal in mind. You could be already achieving it. You may not have one. So I want you to think about that right now, and I want you to write that goal down. What is your income goal within the next 90 days in your business? And once you've written that down, I want you to write down by when you want to actually achieve that by. Now, when I say this, I don't mean, oh, you know, in a few weeks' time. That's not the kind of answer that you're looking for. You need a specific day, a specific time, and a specific date. Okay? And it could be within 90 days. It doesn't have to be from today to the 90-day period. It can be any time within that. So I want you to write down your income goal and when you want to achieve that by. You could also have a long-term goal that's outside of the 90-day span. It could be within a year's time. But for today's video, think of a goal that's within the 90-day period and write that down. And then here comes the big question. Why do you want to achieve that goal? And this is where it gets really interesting. So you've written down your income goal and you've written down when you want to achieve that by, and now it's time to think about why. Now, majority of the time, I think you're not muted there. I have to mute you out there. There you go. Majority of the time when you ask somebody why they want to achieve their goal, for example, if you ask somebody what their income goal is and they say $10,000 in a month, which is great, and they'll tell you when they want to achieve that by. You ask them why. And majority of the time, people will say to you, oh, you know, so I can get out of debt, so I can pay my bills, which is great. But that's what we call a surface desire. It's not actually the core desire of why they want to achieve that goal. So from there, I want you to think about why you want to achieve your goal and write that down. And if it is a surface desire, that's okay. Write that down right now. Now, once you have that, what is that going to get you that you don't have now? And most of the time, there'll be a little bit of a pause there, and people need to think about that. And that's going to dive even closer to the core desire, and people will give you another answer. So just for example, someone may say at the beginning, you know, I want to, get rid of my debts, I want to pay my bills, pay off my credit cards. So what is that going to get you that you don't have now? And the person may say, that will allow me to travel. It will allow me to travel the world and have vacations, which is great. So then you ask the question again. So when you have that, what is that going to get you that you don't have now? So we're digging into the core desire. And someone may say, you know, by this time I'll be able to quit my job. And that's great. So what's that going to get you that you don't have now? And they may say, you know, it's going to get me my time back. And that's great, but what's that going to get you that you don't have now? You get the idea, right? And eventually you will get to the core desire of what that person actually wants and why they want it. And, you know, if this is you right now, I hope that you're writing this down as I ask you, what is that going to get you that you don't have now? And I want you to keep asking yourself that question until you get to the core desire. And if you're actually speaking to somebody about this, you'll hear the tone in their voice change a little bit when you've gotten there. You might hear some emotion in their voice. It might be a little bit awkward when you ask the question. There might be a little bit of a pause until they tell you, I just want my time back with my family. I want my time back with my kids. I want to be able to give back to my parents. That is a core desire. That's what you're looking for. And when you think about that, if I'm doing something for $10,000 a month, or I'm doing something to get my time back with my family and my kids, not that I have any kids, but just for an example, which example there do you think is going to drive me towards my goal? The $10,000 a month, or spending time with my family and kids? It's a pretty obvious answer. So that core desire, why we get to that is so that we have the drive and the motivation every single day to get up and take action within our business to get to that goal. Now, someone is going to be more motivated to spend time with their family and their kids than they are by telling themselves they want 10,000 in a month. It's just the way that it works. You know, there's a good old saying, you know, if your why doesn't make you cry, your why is not big enough. So right now, what you've written down as your core desire, if that why doesn't make you cry, that why is not big enough, and you have to think deeper. You have to dig deeper, as Sean T would say on Insanity. You have to dig to that core desire, because that is your internal drive. It's going to drive you every single day towards your goal. And if you do not have that, you are not going to get the success that you would like in your business. Because we are not driven by money. It's not the money. It's about the person that you become in the process and what that is going to give you that you don't have now. And ultimately, what that's going to give to the world, what legacy you can leave in this world, how you can change the world just a little bit. And that leads into your long-term vision. That's why we need to have a vision. You know, a vision is the ability to see something that's not actually there yet. It's in the future, but you know you're going to get there. That's a vision. You know, and for me personally, my vision way down the line, when you dig right down deep into my core desires, my vision for me is to build a performing arts center in a third world country. And I can see that in my mind. I see that in my mind. I see what it's going to look like. I don't know exactly where it's going to be, but I can see it. You know, for me, I want to be able to give back and give the opportunity to kids to be able to play sports, perform, as I'm a performer myself, you know, to be able to have dance lessons, to be able to go to gym class, to be able to, you know, play football and basketball and all of those things. That's a dream for me, and that would be me leaving a legacy, changing a little part of this world that would make me feel like I made a difference. So I want you to think about that long-term vision and hold on to that. Hold on to that. So, you know, we've talked about the core desire and the internal drive and the motivation. Now, what you've written down, if you were to read that to a small child, it would be so clear. What you've described would be so clear that that child should be able to see a picture of what your intentions is, what your outcome is. They should see a clear image of what that is, because you've written it down in such descriptive language that the child can understand it and they can visualize it. It's what we call a well-formed outcome. And as John Paul mentioned, we actually dive into this in our 15K formula product in great detail with our founder, David Wood. And we also have the workbook where you can write everything down within the Inner Circle product. So, and I think John Paul has a little something to add on to this right now.
Yeah, I do. You know, what a lot of, at least whenever I was in, you know, a state of mind where I was not really abundance oriented, I was pretty much thinking, you know, thinking all pavo on things. You know, I was always worrying about bills. I was worried about, you know, when I was younger, I mean, I was an idiot with my driver's license. I went and made some mistakes. You know, I had a lead foot. and I lost my license at the time, so I was worried about paying the courthouse, worried about paying stuff. And then eventually, I remember being a welder for for 6.5 years, and I remember losing. I remember losing a lot of friends to downsizing industry on stuff, and then I thought, my goodness, I'm worried about now feeding myself and my family. Now what am I going to do? And I knew that. I just saw friends. I saw over 190 people that were friends of mine, like people that I saw every single day in an industry just vanish up in one day. And I didn't only see, myself worrying about bills and everything, and about me worrying about how I was going to get by, but I saw a lot of other people. At the time it was near a place I worked for a place called East Manufacturing in Randolph, Ohio, and I was actually an aluminum welder, and I was welding the insides and the outsides and the front and backs of these dump trailers. And so anytime that you're driving down the freeway or the highway or anything, and you see, the big paver trucks with the asphalt stuff in them, and the garbage haulers and everything that are all made out of aluminum, I was making a lot of those. And there was over 400 people that worked at this plant, and I saw over 190 people up and gone within a matter of a week. Just that's it. Yeah, so the industry's slowed down. Sorry, we don't have a need for you anymore. We're not building houses anymore. There's no one really ordering. The Department of Transportation is not buying new trucks or for fleets or anything. So sorry about you. You're done. And I saw not only those people's dreams that they had for themselves crushed, but I saw a lot of people had allowed outside influences that they thought would never, they thought it would never happen to them. They thought that they would always have this job. They thought that they were going to get this union job, work for 20 years, and retire, and then life is good. And then you have to get a little bit more broke every day, relying on your pension or your retirement fund. So every single day you get a little bit less wealthy, which, retirement actually sounds like a horrible, horrible idea to me, because if anything, everybody says, "Oh, the rich just keep getting richer." Well, why is that? And it's because they think a little bit differently than other people. Than other people that are sitting there worrying about their bills, and people that are sitting there worried about how they're going to get by, and people that are worried about not only if their dreams are going to come true, if their kids' dreams are going to come true, because they chose to put themselves into certain scenarios and situations that they actually had no control over. They thought that if they just show up every day, put in their 8 to 10 hours, they'll get their 2 days off a week, and that eventually everything's just going to work out because they work harder and they just have to exchange more time for more money. Well, then the whole concept of retirement still, like, if once you try to wrap your head around exactly what it is, screw that. I'm retiring. I live a little bit of retirement every single day. I take little mini vacations in my mind every day to get me towards closer to that ultimate freedom. Now, am I totally free from the 9 to 5? No, I'm not. And it's something where I'm still actually actively doing it. I'm still actively building a business part-time. And it doesn't mean that I turn around and tuck my tail in whenever I think that my foundation got a little bit shook up, when I think that my business got a little bit rattled, because it's not only my dreams that are riding on this. It's anybody within my organization, their dreams. It's going to be their children's dreams as well. So sometimes you got to think a little bit bigger than just yourself. And what's amazing is people want to be a part of something bigger. Like, naturally, we always want to be a part of something bigger than us. That's why people start looking towards gods and religion and heavens, and then you have sports. Any sport athlete or anything, that's actually a group environment that people always it's something bigger than them. They can chase in America. We'll chase the Super Bowl for football. In soccer, what is it? The World Cup. And then you'll have in Australia, you'll have the Australian AFL. You'll have the AFL down there for Australian rules football. There's also the rugby league down there too. Then there's cricket. There's all kinds of different things out there. Everything has a pinnacle of where they go and then what people chase. Well, in our industry, all we are chasing, like most people, is time. Time, like Alesha said, time with our friends, time with our family. And whenever I'm going to be 80 years old, the one thing in my life that has rattled me and just scared, like my ultimate fear that I could realize would be, setting, 80, 90 years old, maybe 110, 120, who knows. By that time, I'm sure that there's probably going to be some type of bionic thing that's going to be helping me live to be 180. You never know. But eventually, my cells will stop regenerating, and then I'll have to come to peace with what's beyond all this. And it's not the money at all. I would give all of that up like any dying man would or dying woman would to spend a little bit more time with my children, my grandchildren, my friends, and my family. I would give it all up just for a little bit more. And that is my ultimate fear, is to live a life where I say, what if? What if I had never done this? What if I had never taken that first step and actually said, I am better than this. I owe it more to myself. I owe it more to my friends or more to my family, my children. Hell, my cat deserves a better life. If you're just a single person, your cat deserves better. If your cat needs a new play toy or a new little house to run around in, your cat even deserves better. So if you love your animals and you love your cat or your dog, you want them to have something better. Get it. This is how you do it. You knuckle down, you put the time in, you go through the frustrations like every other human being will do. And is there a Staples Easy button on here? No, there isn't. It's not going to be easy. But we can actually make it easier through our mistakes. You can leverage time by learning through what the mistakes of other people have made. If anybody on my team, they ask me input about any traffic source that I've used or anything, I can turn around and give them honest feedback about it, because I can say, look, I've ran ads that have lost thousands of dollars before that have had very dismal returns. Later on, they might have paid back, but I can at least advise people through my own mistakes, and not really mistakes. Mistakes. My own tests that I've made. Saying the word mistakes is actually kind of a little bit misleading, because the whole time I've always just been testing. When you're going through it, it's going to seem like one of the biggest failures that you've ever happened, and that's going to be one of those things that you think have actually, rattled your foundation or rattled the outside of your business. You got your core foundation, and then this is over here is just rattling and vibrating away, and boom, that little chunk is falling off. That was your one traffic source. Well, this one over here is pretty solid, and it's still feeding into your business. Keep running that one. Stick with what works on everything, but if you don't take the first step in your life to say today is the day that all that bullshit ends. And if there's some religious people out there that don't like me cursing, I know that I have some people on my list, but look, I apologize. I apologize right now. I'm a human being. I get a little bit heated on some of this stuff, but today's the day that you draw the line and you say enough is enough. It's time for you to create your life where you say, I am living on my own terms, not somebody else's, and I'm doing this stuff for me, my family, and I am finding a better way. And it starts with actually thinking differently. It starts with just reprogramming this up here. I've heard people tell me, you're in like one of those cult type things, right? And I said, hell no. I said, you're in the biggest cult of them all. And then I just turn around and I laugh and I walk away. And then I'll go make up some Kool-Aid and I'll drink it. But, it's hilarious to me about sometimes when people don't actually realize what they have control over, and the only thing that you will ever have control over in your life is one thing: yourself. And if you don't have ultimate control over yourself and your thoughts and the way that those actually, you project them out into the outside world, how on earth are you ever going to attract anybody else into, in success around you? If you cannot turn around and actually communicate in a way that's effectively because you're thinking differently. What I want to put myself onto a yacht, just cruising to, out to the Bimini or something, or out to Fiji. Would I want to just do that with just anybody? No. I would want to surround myself with actual, true, like-minded people that I can have an honest discussion with that get what I'm saying. So if you're a person out there that gets what I'm saying, there's going to be a button below this video that says get started now, or let's see, it actually says, yes, I'd like to get started. It's just a big, bright button. Click that button. If you'd like to get started today, click that button. Just actually go ahead and click on it. When you click on that button, it'll actually take you to a join page. I challenge you, just to stretch your limits a little bit. Go ahead and join up for the viral blogging system and actually put your message out there to the world, and actually start becoming a member of our group. This is something where Alesha and we're not into a million different things online. We're actually we've been very faithful to our team and what we're all about, and our actual vision, and truly helping people. And I want to challenge everybody out there just to get started today, to change your way of thinking, because if you've lived your whole week, like if you were one of those people out there, and stick with me when I say this too, if you were one of those people out there that left work early on Friday because of you wanted to have a 3-day weekend, so if you were one of those people out there that wanted to have your 3-day weekend, you left work early to go and sit in rush hour traffic, to go nowhere really fast, 25 mile an hour, just to get home a little bit earlier for your 3-day weekend, your priorities are messed up. They really are if you step back and you look at things. Challenge yourself to think a little bit differently. Click the button that says I'd like to get started today. Get started, fill all that out, and don't be afraid. Come back in at the inner circle level, reprogram your mind a little bit, and that's pretty much all that I have. Looking back on it all, is make sure that you can start building your business around a core foundation. And that's what Empower Network was for Alesha and I. It was building a core foundation for us. Now, if somebody had sent you here as well too, get back to that person that invited you to this hangout as well too. If they sent you here too, that button on that page should actually be coded with their affiliate link. We are online affiliates. That is actually what we do. We're independent online affiliates. We sell products and we get paid. We actually have real products behind this, things that have actually helped influence our lives, and things that will help influence your life if you put them to use. So, that's pretty much all I have today. Today's Labor Day. I'm going to actually go out and pay someone to go labor for me today, is what I'm going to do. So, Alesha, I don't know if you've got anything else that you'd like to, share with anybody as well too, but like I said, get back to whoever invited you to this page. Call them up or email them, whatever. Reply back to an email. If you receive Alesha and my emails as well, reply back to any of those emails. Build a conversation with us. Talk to us. We're actually here for you guys. A lot of people don't realize, like, when I've been in direct retail sales actually for 5 years now, and when customers come into our business, what I'll do is it amazes me that sometimes they're shaking my hand after they've given me money. They're shaking my hand and say, "Oh, thank you so much. It's been so wonderful. You were so knowledgeable about everything. Thank you for taking the time to truly help us out." And these are people that have just laid over, $500, $1,000, even $50, whatever. But they're friends of mine. These are people that I start to know their family. I'm helping them. They get a lot out of it. And the one thing that I'll tell you today is, if you're in a sales environment, once you know one thing more than that other person, you are now the expert. And actually, Alesha kind of reiterated this to me last night. She said, once you know one thing more than that other person, it doesn't matter if you think that you don't know a lot about the topic, but if they're coming to you for the information and you actually know more than they do, you are now the expert in their eyes. Don't sabotage yourself by thinking differently on that, because they're coming to you. Even as long as you believe that the information you're providing is true and valuable and can actually help them, you're now the expert. You are now elevated in their brain, like in their mind, as far as how they're ready to give you money for helping them, for exchanging that information and assisting them. Don't be afraid to take it, and don't sabotage yourself any other way. That's something where I had to kind of teach some of my other sales team with things like that too, is that they are the expert no matter how much they want to have these self-limiting beliefs on things. And we do it in our lives all the time. But yeah, again, I challenge you guys, to don't discredit yourself at all. Go back in and actually just realize where you're at with everything. And a true leader in everything, whenever everything's chaotic and moving around and there's hustle and bustle and this and that, and there's all this stuff going on and it seems like everything's going a million miles a minute, the true leaders in the world and in business and in any aspect of it are the leaders that can turn back around, slow everything down, assess the situation, and take decisive action with everything. So are you going to be a leader within your life? is that going to be you? Are you going to be the one that just because you can click a button and you can actually start taking charge today and apply the information that's in there? It's going to be a journey that's going to have ups and downs, peaks and valleys, but eventually it's going to smooth on out. And I can tell you, when you get up here and it's in that smooth sailing, the ride is very nice. It is very nice. And then you can kind of build up on that. And sure, you might have some choppy waves coming in now and again, but guess what? We like to go surfing. All the waves are just means that you get to have some fun. So with that, Alesha, I don't know if you've got anything more you'd like to add, but I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome stuff there. Yeah, just to close this out, I hope that everybody out there has gained some value from this. And if you haven't done so already, please do the exercise that I described at the beginning of this video. You will be able to go back and replay this video, write down your income goal and when you want to achieve that by and why you want that, and go through the steps. Ask yourself the question, when I have this, what's that going to get me that I don't have now? And get down to the core desire. And if you're having a little trouble with it, grab somebody else that can ask you the questions, and you can communicate to that person the answers, or you can write them down, or even get a hold of John Paul and I, and we'll go through this process with you. We'd be happy to do that. So please make sure that you do that within your business, and for when you get started within your business as well. Because what's that actually going to do for you? It's going to actually align your subconscious mind and your conscious mind as one. And if that's just gone completely over your head, I completely understand, because this is what we teach within our products. This is the stuff that you need to know. This is the personal development, the mindset education that you need to build a successful business. Because if your subconscious mind is sabotaging your conscious mind, it won't be aligned for you to achieve your goals. You need to have your values, your beliefs, and your purpose all aligned one, so that your subconscious mind can rearrange things to remake what it is that you actually want in your life. And, I also want to leave you with this. The reason why people hold back, it's due to fear and social programming. It's a fear of belief. Can I actually make this happen? Do I actually believe in myself enough to make this happen? And with social programming, it's all about how the world has programmed you to believe that things can only be a certain way. And it's our message to get out to the world and to you right now that there is a better way, and we can help you with that better way. And we do believe in you, even when you don't believe in yourself. And our community believes in you, even when you don't believe in yourself. And you'll be a part of something bigger than yourself. And you will learn through our products how to align your subconscious and your conscious as one, get towards your success, and to create complete clarity within your life through our inner circle products and through our 15K formula products. So with that being said, right now, as a human being, there is one thing that we all have the power to do. No matter what your situation is, no matter what's going on in your life right now, you could be at rock bottom. You could be having the worst time in your life right now. You could be depressed. You could be going through some awful stuff right now. You might be also having a great time. You might be the happiest person on the planet right now, which is awesome. But whatever your situation is right now, there's always one thing that we as human beings have the power to do. And what is that? It's the power of choice. At any moment in time, you have the power to make a choice about what you focus on, what things mean, and what you're going to do next. 3 things: what you focus on, what things mean, and what you're going to do next. So right now, I want you to focus on getting started. And what that actually means is you're going to be one step closer to building the life that you truly deserve and your family deserves. So what you're going to do next is you're going to click that button below and get involved and get inside our community. And as John Paul mentioned, reach out to us. Reach out to the person that sent you to this video. Leave a question or a comment. Leave your feedback below. We'd love to hear from you. And with that being said, we want to thank you for coming out and spending your time with us here on Labor Day if you're in the US, or spending your time with us anywhere in the world. That's what's so great about this business. We can connect with people all over the world at any time. And we look forward to seeing you on our Hangout next week at exactly the same time. So with that being said, we'll see you then. Have an awesome day.